Alright, this is John Cola with OKRaw.com. Today I have another exciting episode for you, and we're coming at you once again from one of my favorite farmers markets in Los Angeles. It's the Hollywood Farmers Market here on Sunday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. I always encourage you guys to get here early for the most varieties. Once it gets later in the day, number one, you're going to have to start paying for parking because street parking here is free until 11. You got to pay after that. But the other thing is, you know, a lot of the uncommon stuff sells out quick. So what we're going to do today for you guys, actually, my teachings, I advocate to eat as many fresh fruits and fresh vegetables as you can. I happen to eat virtually all fruit and vegetable and all raw diet, but for many of you guys, you may or may not be able to do that. I always encourage you guys to eat the most fresh fruits and vegetables that you possibly can, and I like to inspire and encourage you guys to do this. That's the purpose of all my videos that I put out for you guys, and the purpose of today's video is to inspire you and to create awareness about all the different varieties of fresh fruits and fresh vegetables. When you go to the supermarket, you may buy avocados in the store, and I don't know where you guys live, but you know, a lot of times when you buy avocado, you think, oh, the avocado I buy is a Haas avocado. That's the only kind of avocado that exists in the whole world. Well, you know, there's many more different kinds of avocados than just the Haas. There's many more different kinds of kale than just the standard green curly kale. There's many different more kinds of apples than the Fuji apples, the Granny Smith apples that you may be familiar with. In this video, I'm going to go ahead and share with you guys some of the cool varieties that are here in California at this time. And I know some of these things may not be available in your areas. What I would encourage you to do is, number one, ask. Ask at local, grocery stores, local farmers markets. Ask the farmers or the grocers for some of these unique and exotic produce items. They may be able to order it. The fact of the matter is, they sell one kind of avocado because that's the kind that people know, and if they put a new kind out, it might not sell. So places may be able to order them. Number two, start growing your own food. Some of the, especially the vegetables that I'll be showing you guys today, you guys can easily grow from seed and have your own food that money can't buy. So I guess with that, let's go around the Hollywood Farmers Market and show you some cool varieties that they have today. So you guys are most familiar with different varieties of apples. I mean, frankly, you could go to most any grocery store and they have more varieties of apples than just one kind. And they may have many different kinds, but just because they're available in the store doesn't mean those are the only kinds ever available that are grown in the world. I mean, there's over 1,000 varieties of apples. I myself have tasted over 100 different varieties of apples, and there's some that taste much better than others. Here at the farmers market today, you guys can see we got the standard Fujis. I like the Fuji apples. They're one of the sweetest apples just to eat. They're one of my favorites. Well, so they got the Granny Smiths. The Granny Smiths are actually really good apples for juicing, especially if you have a slow juicer. They're going to keep their texture remain firmer, so they're not going to get as pulpy. Also here, they got the Pink Lady apples here in the front. Nice pink color. They got some Summerfield apples that actually looks like to be big sellers here. They got the Sundowner apples, and they got the Wine Sap apples. I want to really encourage you guys to, try different varieties of apples, because just because you don't like Granny Smiths, does that mean you don't like all kinds of apples because the Granny Smiths don't taste so good to you? Try different ones. Maybe you'll find, man, these Golden Delicious or these Pink Pearls are my favorite one, and they really turn you on and light you up. And, go for the varieties that you really like, but you'll never know what they taste like unless you try them. So it's definitely really good to come out to the farmer's market to try some different varieties of apples that you've never tasted before. So one of the crops you guys know there's different varieties is your tomato. You may be familiar with your standard like red tomato, but there's so many other varieties than just your standard red tomato, and I would encourage you guys to try them all. They each taste unique and different and are amazing. Here we're looking at some heirloom tomatoes, and they have so many different varieties. They have like little orange ones, little yellow ones. Some of my favorite ones are these guys. These are known as like the white tomatoes, and these actually have a very low acid, really good flavor. Even the cherry tomatoes, there's so many different varieties of tomatoes than just your standard, beefsteak, and I want to encourage you guys always to try different varieties, because once again, you may like one more than another, and if you don't try it, you'll never know. So now we're going to talk about one of my favorite foods to eat, especially in the winter time when, other summer fruits are kind of going out of season. It's a fruit that stores fairly well in the winter. It's persimmons. So you can see here they got the standard Chia persimmon. This is like the acorn persimmon. Now it's very important you eat this persimmon when it's completely ripe. Right now it's nice and firm, and if you eat it, it's going to be really stringent and suck all the saliva out of your mouth. you want to wait till this is almost like jelly, like softer than a ripe avocado. It's getting a little bit soft at the top. And you know, there are two kinds of different persimmons. There are astringents and the non-astringents. I prefer the non-astringents, which we're actually going to look at in a second. This is a astringent variety. But, you know, many people think, oh, Haichias are the only astringent variety. There's actually many other varieties of astringent persimmons, and they got a couple cool, unique, rare ones here today. Here's one actually called the Tamo Pan. And look at these guys. These guys are all funny shapes, man. These guys are looking real cool. These guys are probably, I've never seen these sold in a commercial market before because they're just probably not going to ship well, all the cool shapes. But once again, these guys need to be soft before you eat them. In addition, they got these guys. These are the Maru persimmons. And these are, once again, another astringent variety and need to be all soft before you eat them. And each one of these persimmons have a totally different kind of flavor and taste. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to actually take a look at some non-astringent persimmons like the Fuyu variety. Those are my favorite, definitely overall. These ones need to be eaten once again when they're like pudding mush. Actually, they blend up into nice smoothies. I like to do persimmon banana smoothies. The other kind can be eaten hard out of hand, and yeah, you could eat these out of hand too, but like nice softer texture. Now these are the standard persimmons, the non-astringent kind. These are known as the Fuyu persimmons, and these are the more flat kind that you could eat when they're nice, hard and firm, or when they're soft. I kind of like them when they're in between, not super hard and firm, not super soft. One of the things you want to look for when picking these guys out, two things. Number one, the color. You want to get a nice dark color. This is a nice orange color. If you buy them earlier in the season, they're maybe not quite as dark, and they're not quite as fully developed, and they're not going to be as sweet. Number two, something I really like to look for is right on the bottom. And what we're looking for here are like you know those famous artwork pieces that are kind of like crackled, like if the paint cracks. We're looking for that cracking on the persimmon. That's like when it gets a lot sweeter and the sugars really start to come out, to look for the cracking. And normally you'll find this in the late season persimmons like we are finding right now. I bet this one is a real sweet one. Right, now we're here at Mud Creek Ranch. This is an organic farm in California. They grow actually lots of different citrus and some other unique crops that we may look at in a second. And you know, another common crop besides the apples that we just saw are oranges. And I know many of you guys may be aware of different kinds of oranges. I mean, there's two main kind of oranges you could get that you may be familiar with. The Valencia oranges, which are actually better for juicing, and then they got the navels that have the little navel belly button in the bottom. And these are definitely better for eating out of hand. They don't actually juice so well. And after this, we'll actually look at a few other varieties of oranges. So one of my favorite varieties of oranges are right here, and many of you guys may not be familiar with it. It's actually called the Sweet Juicy Moro Blood Oranges. So these are blood oranges. Why they call blood oranges? Because they look like dark, like even purplish on the inside. We're gonna go ahead and cut one of these guys open right here. And check it out, look at that nice dark rich purple color. You guys could just eat these out of hand, super delicious, super good. And I want to encourage you guys to eat your foods of color. Every different color of the rainbow has a different whole spectrum of phytonutrients and phytochemicals, vitamins and minerals that are good for you. Wow, wow. And besides just the color, they have a quite unique flavor. I mean, if I had to compare, this is like eating an orange and maybe drinking some like red wine at the same time, but no alcohol and super delicious for you. Another orange that actually may be available for you guys are these guys right here. You might be thinking, John, that looks like a standard orange. Well, these are special oranges. These are actually called Cara oranges. You guys can see on the inside it's cut open. Not quite as dark as that blood orange you guys saw earlier, but a little bit darker, you know, than a standard orange and a little bit different color. These guys actually, to me, kind of taste like pink lemonade on their own. Just tasting them. Here's a little sample here, what they look like. Nice sweet orange flavor, little bit of tang. Wow, quite delicious. So now we're at Friends Ranch, and they have lots of different citrus. They're in Ojai, California. And today, the ones that are in season are the Lee tangerines. And these are actually the sweetest kind, harder to peel. And these guys, the clementines. Well, hopefully you've had clementines. They're available in most places. And then they got the satsumas, which are the satsuma zipper skin. They come out real easy, they're real easy to peel, and they actually have less seeds. Now, you know, these are just some of the varieties they have today, but they will have tangerines throughout a whole long season. And this is the reason for many different varieties of fruits, because some varieties are early season varieties. They're available mid-November through February, like the satsumas. And then some of these guys, like the Manolo Tangelos, are available April to June. So this, you know, every different variety they have, Satsuma, Clementine, Lee, Dancy, Page, W. Murcott Mandarins, Tahoe Gold, Gold Nugget, Shasta Gold, Yosemite Gold, Ojai Pixies, Manolos, are available at different times of the month. So if you're doing what I call diet rotation, eating different varieties, you're just gonna go through the different varieties as the season changes. Now, many of you guys may not be familiar with some of these guys, how they taste, so I'm happy, you know, at the farmer's market, they have sampling stations. So we're actually gonna go over to the sampling station, we're gonna taste some of the varieties, and I'll share with you guys my favorite ones that they have here. So you guys can see they got different varieties of the tangerines. Here's the Satsumas, and we're gonna go ahead and grab one of these guys.
Free hug.
It's fairly sweet, definitely good. Next we got the Clementines. These ones have seeds. Actually, that's not quite as sweet to me as the first one. And then finally, we got the Creme de la Creme. The Lees, really looking forward to this. I don't believe I actually had a Lee tangerine before. Wow. This is that tangerine flavor that you remember as a kid. It just tastes like a tangerine. It's like really sweet and actually super delicious. So here they got the Pixie tangerines right here. Then they got the honey tangerines. The honey tangerines are my favorite tangerine. They're actually quite sweet, incredibly sweet. In addition, they have some other kind of tangerines, Satsuma mandarins. And then they have these guys right here, golden nuggets. And these guys, definitely really good, have a nice flavor. And you know, once again, there's so many different varieties. When you go to the store, you might be only finding tangerines, but there's different kinds and each one tastes totally different. Some store well better than others, some are sweeter better than others. Like the honey's definitely my favorite. Next, we're gonna talk about lemons. Lemons are one of my favorite foods. Now, I don't eat a lot of lemons at a hand, although some varieties you actually could. I like to use lemons as a flavoring agent, like in dressings or maybe in juices sometimes, like to add to a vegetable juice to make it taste really good. Now, you might be familiar with the standard lemons here, and these are just standard kind of lemons right here with the little nipples on the end. And one of my favorite kind of lemons are the Meyer lemons. And actually the Meyer lemons are nice deeper yellow, and actually they're a sweeter lemon, so they taste sweeter than the standard ones. So I always prefer the Meyers whenever they're available than the standards. Here's another variety of lemon, check it out. It's actually called the variegated pink lemons. So these are tart like a traditional lemon, but take a look at them. These guys are really pretty. They're like a nice variegated, and on the inside, they're pink. So why not make a pink lemonade using pink lemons and some apples juiced up instead of, you know, artificial pink food coloring and sugar or corn syrup. Next, let's talk about limes. Here we got some standard limes here that you may be familiar with. You see them in the store. And you know, when you pick up limes, they're always green. And now I want to tell you guys, green limes are unripe limes. When picking limes, you want to go to the bin where they're at, like this one right here. And we could go through this bin and dig through this bin. And if we go to the bottom, haha, I found a ripe lime. And this is mostly yellow with the shades of green. I always encourage you guys to eat the ripest fruit that you could get your hands on. And most times limes are always sold green, not yellow. I encourage you guys to find out the yellow ones. But besides just the standard limes you may be familiar with, there's many other varieties of limes. Here's just one here. These are all known as key limes. Here we got the Barris limes. So this is yet another variety of lime. I want to encourage you guys to pick out the ones that are the most yellow. And here's one right here. Now yes, this is a lime, not a lemon. We're gonna go ahead and cut this guy in half for you guys. And as you guys can see, that's what it looks like. On the inside, you know, you got the yellow on the outside, still a hint of green. And we're gonna go ahead and try this. You got a mild lime flavor, a lot sweeter than the standard lime, but you still got that acidity of the lime. I definitely prefer these over your standard limes, but actually let me show you guys next my favorite kind of lime of them all. So my favorite kind of lime of them all are these guys right here. These are the sweet limes. So the sweet limes, once again, you want to try to pick them out when they're as yellow as possible. And there's a sample right here on the inside. You can see it's totally yellow. You can just eat it like that and check it out. No bitter face. These guys actually get a tad of sweet, but not as sweet, not nearly as sweet as like an orange. But just like there's no acid flavor if you get one that's completely ripe. These guys are amazing. I love to just make straight sweet lime juice, maybe with like one grapefruit or one orange for some flavor. definitely the best limes of them all. So look for sweet limes, or come here to the Hollywood Farmers Market and get your own sweet limes. So one of my favorite fruits that are naturally dried on the tree with a lower water content are dates. And you know, if you go to the standard health food store, you might get dates, and you think when you buy dates at the health food store, you're most oftentimes getting one of two kinds, either medjool dates or deglet dates. To me, those are the bottom of the pit, right? There's so many other varieties of dates that taste so much better and actually, you know, are even less expensive. So we're here at the Batista Family Organic Date Ranch, and you can check them out online and actually order their dates online, 7hotdates.com. And they got many varieties of dates here today. They got the Zahidi dates, they got the Deglet Noor dates, and check out these prices, man. $3.50 a pound, much less than, you know, buying them at your local store. You got the Quadrari dates. These are actually some of my favorite ones. You got the standard medjools. In addition, you got the Halawi dates here. And one of the things I want you guys to notice is that I got number 1s and number 2s. And what that means is, you know, these are like the ones that are a bit more moist, and these are the ones that are not quite as moist. Now, these are still good to eat. You're gonna save a lot of money. I definitely would encourage you guys to get the number 2s because you're gonna save a lot more money. Maybe you want the super soft ones for some reason, but you're gonna pay more. I'm kind of like more about the economics, man. I want more dates for less money. So that's what I'm gonna do here. Probably my favorite ones today are actually the Quadraris of them all. Nice, rich, delicious flavor. And once again, all these dates have totally different flavors. So I encourage you guys to get a date sampler, you know, as a nice treat to yourself so that you can experience all the different flavors and kinds of dates to find out which one you truly like the best. So for many of you guys that may know, one of my favorite foods in the world are the leafy greens. You know, I teach people how to grow their own greens at growingyourgreens.com. And here at the farmer's market, there's many different varieties of greens. I'm not gonna be able to show you all the different varieties of greens today, but one of my favorite greens and the most nutrient-dense green on the whole planet, which I encourage everybody should eat at least a couple times a week, is kale. And you know, many of you guys may be familiar with your standard green curly kale that you get at the store, because that's the kind of kale there is, right? The only kind there is. Well, completely wrong. There's over a dozen varieties that I could probably name off the top of my head of kale. Today I'm being able to share with you guys 3 of those here at this grower. The first one is this one. It's the Red Russian kale. So, as a gardener myself, the Red Russian is probably at the top of my list, one of my top favorite kales. I think even more than the Red Russian, I like the Siberian, the white Siberian. But the Red Russian is one of my favorite kales because it has a nice, mild, more neutral flavor than some of the other kales that can be quite strong tasting, especially in the winter time like we are now. This guy gets excessively sweet, a lot sweeter, tastes really good. You definitely want to try the Red Russian. Another one they have here today is actually the green winter boar kale, and this is more of a standard curly variety. And you know, I don't like the curly varieties of kale so much myself. They tend to be a little more stronger in flavor. But if you like strong flavor, let's talk about the next one. Let's talk about this guy, the Tuscan kale, also known as black kale or lacinato kale. And this is a nice, strong tasting kale. And probably because of the dark, rich color, it probably has, you know, highest level of chlorophyll in there. I mean, check it out. Here's the standard kale, just to compare the color. A lot darker than that. And one of the things I like about the black kale or Tuscan kale, it's a long-standing plant, so it could actually survive the hot temperatures of the summer and the cold temperatures of the winter, unlike the winter boar kale. I always want to encourage you guys to get a variety of kales in your life for the highest benefit. I mean, each variety of kale has a little bit different kind of nutrients in there, and they're going to be good for you. So another crop that you guys may be familiar with are carrots. You might be thinking, yeah, John, carrots, they're those orange things that you buy at the store. Most of the time they actually don't have their tops on it. That's because carrots store longer without the tops. But carrots come in more varieties than just your standard orange variety, and the orange variety that's sold at the store today has been highly hybridized actually to be quite sweet. And I definitely like a sweet carrot, but there's other varieties of carrots than just your standard orange. There's the heirloom carrots, and I encourage you guys to eat heirloom crops whenever possible. What we're looking at here, some of my favorite ones, we got the yellow carrots right here. Carrots even come in colors like red and black, and actually here's some purple carrots. Once again, I always want to encourage you guys to eat your foods of color. Imagine making a glass of carrot juice that's purple. Purple carrot juice. You could freak some people out. And it's just gonna taste like that standard carrot and have different level of phytochemicals and phytonutrients, something that I'm really after when eating. I'm eating for nutrition, not just the calories. Another crop you guys may not be familiar with are these guys right here. They're known as sunchokes. This is probably one of my favorite edible root crops that do not need to be cooked to eaten, and they got this more common standard variety, the white variety of the sunchoke, but here they also have the more uncommon red variety. And while these guys do taste a little bit different, I mean, they're still sunchokes. These are one of my favorite raw tubers you can eat uncooked. So my favorite way to prepare these guys is just wash it off, brush it down, and slice them into little chips and just eat them. You could put them into salads, dip them in some guacamole and salsa, and you know, they are my substitute for any kind of fried or baked potato chips. So one of my favorite fruits in the whole world is the avocado. I love my avocados, and many of you guys may be familiar with them. I mean, yeah, John, here's the avocado. It's the Hass avocado. That's what it always says when I go to the grocery store. I always could get the Hass. Unfortunately, right now, if you're watching this, it's the winter time when we're filming this, and in winter time in many parts of the country, they're getting avocados, Hass avocados, but they're not California or US grown avocados. They're actually from Mexico or Chile, and actually, to me, those guys have actually very poor flavor. They don't have that nice, rich, you know, buttery, fatty flavor that we're all looking for. So number one, I recommend you guys get California grown Hass, which these are definitely them. And this is the nice standard Hass avocado that we've known to know and love. Nice, rich, fatty flavor. But there's many other varieties of avocados than just the Hass, and I think it's really sad that most people think avocado, they think Hass, but there's other kinds that have totally unique, different flavors, less fat, more flavor complexities, and all this stuff. So let's go around a few booths here at the farmers market and show you guys some of the different varieties of avocados they have today. One of my favorites actually is right here. It's actually called the Mexicola avocado. And if you take a look at these guys, they have a nice smooth, soft skin. And this is actually an edible skin avocado. So this actually has a nice high fat content. You can just eat the skin and all when they're ripe. Definitely really good. In addition, they got these guys right here, which are the bacon avocados. Yeah, these are not pig bacon, these are bacon avocados. These guys are really ripe. We're at actually JJ Lone Daughter Ranch, and they have many varieties of avocados. We are late in the day and they're sold out on most of them, but the bacons are really good. They're actually a lower fat percentage than the standard Hass. I like these a lot, especially when I can get them ripe and a good deal on them. So one of my favorite avocados, more than the Hass actually, is this guy. It's called the Fuerte. So the Fuerte, very similar to the Hass, but to me has a much better flavor. The problem is the Fuerte is more delicate and doesn't ship or travel as well, so they're not quite as popular. Actually, the Hass avocado is actually a bumpy skin variety of the Fuerte. So if you could have a chance to get some Fuerte avocados, you definitely want to do it because they're got the nice rich fatty flavor and super delicious. Next, let's take a look at another variety of avocado that you may have never tried before. So here's yet another variety of avocado. These are called the MacArthur avocado, and you can see like it has a more long skinny neck. Another variety that's not shown today is actually the Pinkerton. That's quite common, and they have actually a really long skinny neck. And once again, all these avocados have a little bit different, you know, flavors on them. And I want to show you guys this right here. Here's your standard Hass they have here. It has a nice small little pit and nice dark flesh in there. Here's for comparison a bacon avocado. You know, a little bit larger pit, maybe a little bit less fruit on the inside, but it's a lot more, you know, light color green, and this is not quite as fatty. So if you're looking for like a low fat avocado, you want to go for the bacons. If you want a more full fat, go for the Hass, or go for the MacArthur that they have here. So the last variety of avocados I'm going to show you guys today here are the Stewart avocados, and check these babies out. These are nice and black, smooth skin avocados, and all avocados need to be soft before you eat them. You know, so you want to make sure they're uniform softness all the way around. If they're soft at the neck, not soft at the bottom, then they're probably not going to be optimally ripe. If you want to ripen them faster, definitely put them in a bag, maybe with a few bananas. That'll ripen them up a little bit quicker. And the Stewart's actually a lot more creamy than fatty, so a little bit lower fat content than the Hass, and delicious nonetheless. I encourage you guys to try all the different varieties of avocados, because once again, you may find one that you just love, you may find one that you don't like so much. You know, for me, I personally go for the avocados that are the cheapest avocados. That way I get a pretty good variety of eating all the different kinds, and of course, a ripe avocado is a good avocado. Next, we're gonna talk about some onions, and as you guys can see, they got the standard yellow onions here, the white onions, and the standard red onions. Now, onions don't make up a large part of my diet, but I do like to include some onions sometimes. I mean, on some raw food pizza or some salads or whatnot. And these are just your standard onions that most stores carry. Now, I always want to encourage you guys to eat the different colors. Number one, they're going to have different nutrients in there. Number two, they're going to taste different. Some are actually stronger than others. But next, what I want to share with you guys actually is my favorite onion, not just these standard onions, but a different kind. So my favorite onions are these guys right here. You can see it says sweet red onions and sweet Maui onions. And these guys are different than the standard onions because they're not going to basically make you tear up as much when you're eating them. I've actually grown sweet onions this year in my garden, both red, yellow, and white, and literally I could almost eat them like an apple because they were that sweet. They didn't have those like compounds that make you tear up. And I encourage you guys to always eat the sweet onions whenever you can, because you'll get some of the good nutrition in there without some of the bad things that are normally in onions. Well, that's pretty much the end of this video. Hopefully you guys learned about some of the different varieties of some of the different crops I showed you. I mean, I could have did more. I got here later in the farmer's market. I wanted to show you guys different varieties of cauliflower. They got the white cauliflower, they got the purple cauliflower, they got the yellow cauliflower, they got the light green cauliflower. I mean, so many different varieties that I could show you in this video. The point of this video is to let you guys know there are many different varieties and that to ask for them to see if you guys can get them. I mean, I think one of the main things you guys could do if you guys want more varieties in your life is not be dependent on the grocery store, not be dependent on the health food store, not even be dependent on local farmers, you know, that as many varieties as they grow, but to take some of the responsibility of the food you eat into your own hands and start growing yourself. You can visit many different seed shops online, rareseeds.com, visit local plant sellers like here at the farmer's market. And I mean, here's the lettuce variety. We got a salad mixed lettuce with all different varieties mixed in. We got romaine lettuce, red romaine, butter crunch, red sales, green oak lettuce. I mean, these are just some of the varieties they have here, but there's over 100 different varieties of lettuce. They all look a little bit different. They all taste a little bit different. And the message for this video today is to eat a wide variety of stuff. Just because you don't like romaine doesn't mean you're not gonna like red leaf romaine, or doesn't mean you're not gonna like, you know, red butter crunch lettuce. Same thing with avos, same things with oranges, same things with apples. Find the varieties that you really like, that really light you up, that you'll eat more of, because, you know, once again, my message for you guys today is to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables as much as you can, and in my opinion, you're gonna be definitely healthier because of it. So if you're interested in learning more about growing your own food so that you can become independent of the system and have unlimited amount of varieties you can grow, because seeds are always available to grow different varieties. Be sure to check out my other YouTube channel, growingyourgreens.com. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode and you're gonna start eating more varieties today so you can experience the spice of life. Once again, my name is John Kohler with OKRaw.com. We'll see you next time, and remember, keep eating your fresh fruits and vegetables. They're always the best.